The National Mall in Washington is sometimes called the nation's front lawn. From concerts to festivals to inaugurations, it's a place to gather and celebrate. A place where Latinos say they should be celebrated too, as Cronkite News reporter Bryan Pietsch tells us from our Washington bureau.
Along the National Mall in Washington, D.C., the federal government has already created a National Museum of the American Indian, a National Museum of African American History, and, if advocates have their way, the building behind me could soon become the first site of the National Museum of the American Latino.
And it is time, my friends, to move forward with an American Latino Museum on the National Mall as part of the Smithsonian Institution.
The National Museum of the American Latino Act would direct the Smithsonian Institution to create the museum highlighting Latino contributions to the United States. It would be the first museum to honor Latinos on a national scale.
And it's important for us to understand that without a Latino museum, that memory, that history, that reality, that truth will not be realized in the hearts and minds of the Latino community, of the American community, and the people of the world.
The bill, which had its first House committee hearing yesterday, calls for a site on or near the National Mall, joining museums such as the Museum of African American History and the Museum of the American Indian. Labor leader and civil rights activist Dolores Huerta said it's important to honor the Latino community's long history of contributions to the United States.
And they don't realize that we have been here since before the United States was actually a country, a government, that we were here before that time.
There's still a long road before the museum can hold its first exhibit. If the bill passes, there will still be years of designing, building, and fundraising for the project. The African American History Museum and the American Indian Museum both took over a decade from fundraising to opening. Advocates say they have enough votes in the U.S. House to get the legislation passed, but they're still working toward a majority in the U.S. Senate. In Washington, Bryan Pietsch, Cronkite News.